What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Just want to do a quick update on where I'm at with this Prerunner build. It's pretty intricate and it is taking longer. I wanted to do weekly updates, but it's not happening with all the other things going on. It takes a while. The prints are taking forever and we're almost done. The cage took, I think it was 12 hours to print. The rear cage. All the body panels are taking extremely long time, but I think we're good now and we're at a good spot. As you can see, the cage came out pretty nice. You can see that there. Bit of layer lines here. I printed it in a faster setting. I don't know. I can clean it up. I can paint it, but we'll just leave it like this for now. I think it looks okay. It's holding the back end together, and I've glued the back end to the cab, and the cage kind of locates it via these holes in here. So it's able to come out now, the cage, and I've glued these in, so they've been, actually let's just take them off now. Moment of truth. It's on there good. So the cage, I can unscrew it here. One of the harder things to do was to locate where the cage goes in, all these mounting points. As you can see, I've got some black pen there, and I kind of just traced around the outside of the mounting points. It uses little 2mm screws, and the 3D file was actually quite good, and the bamboo prints it out quite nice. Get these out of the way. You just need to, thread in the little holes of various points of the cage, and that was probably the hardest part. And then locating exactly where these 2mm screws go was definitely a bit of an issue, but I located them good. The screws went in quite well, and it worked out good. So I'm really happy with this. It's mounted in there. The back end is now glued to the cab, and I can just kind of work at it. The primer I'm using, it's this Rust-Oleum high-fill primer. I've used a lot of high-fill primers in doing body work on full-size cars, and this stuff, for how cheap it is excellent. I got it on sale on Amazon, so this helps you with cutting down on the amount of layer lines you'll see. This is 2 coats on the hood, and there's very minimal layer lines. I don't know if you can see that. I hope you can. I hope the camera's picking it up, but very happy with it. Cuts out on a lot of sanding work. I am sanding everything. Various grits of paper, mainly concentrating in the kind of 180 to sort of 400 grit range for the rough stuff. And then once you start applying the primer, you do a lot of wet sand in between, and that's how you get a really smooth finish. So this is only 1 coat of primer, just to kind of see what we're working with. I used another primer and it didn't dry very well, so it added a lot of extra work, probably another few hours of kind of taking that primer off and then reapplying this primer just to see where we're at. So enough primer talk, but yeah, that's where we're at with the main parts of the body, and it's coming along pretty good. I've just got to unscrew the cage now, pull it out, sand and finish up the back end here, add some primer to it, and then yeah, get the body work nice and smooth. With projects like this, you have to be very strategic about how you go about it. Like I didn't want to dive into mounting the cage before I confirmed that the front end was looking good with the cab, and then I wanted to confirm that the back end could mount on here. You just got to think about the end project and then kind of work backwards to make sure you don't do certain steps before other steps. You want to make sure that the body's going to come out nice, because it's essentially the project, really. I mean, the chassis The chassis is a big part of the project, but if this body doesn't look right and it's not coming out to the standards that I want, then the project's a fail to me. So I just got to make sure that this looks good and it's coming together good before I move on to other sections. Now, how this cage was designed was super clever. These little parts of the cage that insert into the rear bumper mount, so that's excellent, and it locates it in pretty much the right spot. There's also these mounting tabs here that you have to drill through. So once the bumper mounts in, you have essentially these little tabs. You gotta drill through the chassis and mount it there. And then the front end, I'll make some L clips, mount it up there. So yeah, very good for the back end. The front end, I'm gonna have to do a little custom fab DIY. We'll figure it out though. It's not gonna be too hard. The back end's super easy though. So nice design there on the cage. This is what it looks like from the back end. This is the rear axle I chose. I just kind of located it with some older bent links here, but yeah, looks pretty scale. I'll show you guys that in another video. We'll go through the drivetrain and everything, but I just figured I needed to update you. Another big setback was the hood mounts. These little hinges here, they go right in here, and then the hood mounts up here. Issue was when this front end printed, this portion wasn't complete, so I just finished it off with this 3D printing pen. I essentially put a screw through what remained on both holes and then just filled in with a 3D pen over top. It looked really messy, and then I filed it all down, so this took quite a while to make it whole again. So that was a bit of an issue, and that was one of the reasons why it's taking me so long is, as you know, if you've ever done 3D printed bodies, issues come up and they can set you back. So yeah, feel like this is taking a little longer than I wanted it to, but doesn't that always happen with projects? You have big ideas set out in your mind and things happen. So this is where we're at. We're moving along though, pretty good. I've ordered up the wheels. I've also ordered up the front steering knuckles. I didn't have any kicking around, bearings falling out. So yeah, pretty good. I'll run through all the drivetrain parts like I said, but these were excellent. Got them off AliExpress. Next video or the video after, I will have a whole bunch of links. So if you do want to pick up any of this stuff, you can. So yeah, this project's pretty intense. You definitely have to be patient with this one. It's not a slap it together and go kind of thing. So yeah, inching forward 1/8 of an inch at a time. The cab portion of the cage turned out excellent as well. Little fuzzies on here from the prints. But yeah, there's a little bit of layer lines everywhere, but I feel like I put in some work, it's gonna look much better. So yeah, I just wanted to do a quick update, guys. I definitely am trucking along on this build, and I don't want to leave you hanging. So I feel it's important to show you the various stages that I'm at so you can kind of see what it takes to get one of these done. So next video, this body's going to look a lot better. Probably have a full primer coat on it. Still got to pick out the color we want to do. And yeah, I'll run through all the drivetrain parts and we'll have those links together for you. So if you do want to do this project, you can kind of follow along. Also have to pick out the shocks. Don't know if I want to go with those LX bypass shocks or something else scale, King look-alike shocks, something like that. There's a few on AliExpress. There's the LX shocks guy that has some beautiful shocks. So yeah, we'll run through all that. So yeah, that's my update of the Prerunner build. Kind of like I said, at the awkward stage, but next video, we'll have it coming along quite a bit more, and I'll have decided on the color hopefully by then. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. Something classy, I think. And I wanna show you guys the wheels in the next video that I ordered up as well. They're awesome. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And hopefully next week I'll have more updates on this Prerunner build. I should definitely have some more updates next week, now that we've gotten through some of the more challenging parts and we're kind of home stretch on the body. So, and yeah, I'll create a playlist of this build too, so you can follow along and piece everything together if you want to do it yourself. So thanks for stopping by, everyone. I really appreciate it. And stay tuned for the next video. Peace.